Hello and welcome to the International Student Experience, a Swansea University podcast dedicated to showcasing the stories of students from around the world who have chosen to come and study here in the UK. My name's Dav Turner and I'll be your host, and in today's episode we have Madhav Pandya from India who's studying a BSc in Computer Science.
Yes, definitely. Hello.
Right, so if we can make a start then, what was your journey to get here? Like, how did you end up coming to study at Swansea?
So that's the funny part, because I was not looking to come anywhere abroad, like out of India, to study for my undergraduate. I was planning on doing a postgraduate outside of India, but not exactly for my undergraduate, because I was preparing for something else in India. And then COVID hit, and that is when everything changed. So because of COVID, everything got delayed. And the exam that I was preparing for was going to happen in April, but then happened in September because of COVID. And that changed basically everything, because the admissions, the enrollments, everything changed, and it was not going accordingly to my plans. Like, I was open for other options, and then my parents started looking for studying abroad for my undergraduate, and that was the first time ever that we thought about it. And it was in like mid September, and we started looking, and then in some time we were sure that, okay, this is the thing that is very beneficial for me if I do it. So they decided upon sending me abroad for my undergraduate, and then we decided which country, and UK was one of the best, so we chose UK. And after that we started looking towards the admissions and the universities, which is the right university for me. And at that time I had no idea about there is something called a September intake, or there's something called a January intake, or something like that. So even my parents didn't have so much idea, because we never looked into all of these stuff before. So it was the very first time we were looking into it. And by the time we got to know about a September intake and a Jan intake, it was already too late. Like, it was September end almost. So we knew we couldn't get into the September intake. So we were looking forward for options like for the January intake or the next year September intake. And my mom was not very keen on just sitting at home for another year and going to the September intake next year. So we started looking for January intake. And as I checked the ranking for my department, that is a computer science department, it ranked really high. I think it was in the top 15 or top 20. The other universities that were providing January intake were not that high. They were not ranked that high. So it was like a no-brainer for me to apply to Swansea University. And within 7 to 8 days, I had an unconditional offer letter with a scholarship in my hand from Swansea. So I just decided to go with Swansea because, of course, it ranked higher and it looked much better as well. And of course, the Bay campus was is pretty new. And the computational foundry, the department building for my course and my department, was also built very new with all the facilities and everything. So I had high expectations from Swansea University. So once I received my unconditional offer letter, then it was 100% sure that I will be going to Swansea University. So that the whole thing, from the first idea of going to abroad for my undergraduate and having my unconditional offer letter, happened between 3 weeks or so. So that basically changed my whole life.
That's amazing. That's a really quick turnaround. That's actually quite unusual with how involved your parents were. Usually the person is going to them and they're trying to like make the argument like, let me leave the country, it's going to be good to study abroad. Was there anything in particular that helped inspire your parents with that? Was there anything that they were really looking for when it came to the course?
So my parents were looking forward for me to get the best education as well as the best experience, because as you know, if you go to a university, it's not just for a degree, it's a whole experience, because that is the first time you interact with the real world outside of home, outside of your parents doing everything for you. And it is, of course, it's a very big change. And I was not even 18 that time when all of this happened. Yeah, so they were looking for the best thing that was possible out there for me at the time. And once they knew about what opportunities studying in abroad will give me, they were convinced pretty much. I didn't have to tell them that, please let me go to the UK and let me study, because although I was involved in all the process, but they were the one making the decisions for me, because of course I was not even 18 yet. Yeah, so they were pretty much convinced that this is the best thing for me. And it was pretty easy for me to just agree with them, because of course who doesn't want to come to the UK and study and all of that.
So really then, your first proper university experience was that second year. You were here then for freshers, you were here then for everything. So was that when you really felt that you were enjoying your experience more?
Yes, so I always say that my second year was basically my first year in university, because at that time everything was starting to come offline, but everything was opening up bit by bit. And during my second year, a lot of things happened, because as you know that the jump from first year to second year academically is a lot. So there was a lot going on my course, as well as I got a few part-time jobs in the university itself. Of course, I was doing YouTube on my side, but I had a good social group as well. So yeah, everything changed basically during my second year, and I was doing almost three times the things I was doing in the summer. So there was a lot going on, but yeah, I enjoyed it because I like being busy.
It seems it. What jobs did you end up doing in that second year? What were you working on?
So I was always keen on working with the university.
Mhm.
So the first thing that I applied was in the university, and basically I got three part-time jobs in the university. So first of all, I got a teaching assistant job here. Then I got the student ambassador job in the university, and then later on in a month or so, I got the content creator job as well in the university. So all three were basically in the university. I did not work anywhere else.
Do you think it's a really useful and important thing to do when you're here, is to find that part-time work?
I think yes, because that adds up to your university experience. Because I'm not saying that if you don't do a part time job, you will lose out on something, but it's just a big bonus point if you do a part time job while you are in the university, because it has a lot of advantages. For example, you can add things in your CV that looks really good, that you have some kind of work experience. And especially students like me who come here as an international student, they don't have an experience in the UK. So that's, I feel, very important. When you come here, then do a part-time job at least, so that you get an experience in the UK as a work experience, and that looks really good on your CV. So that is one thing that I had in the back of my head, because I was going to apply for my year industry, so I needed something as a work experience. You get to learn a lot. You open up to people, you know how to talk to people, you know how to handle people. And regardless of what job you do, it doesn't matter if you do it in the university or outside of the university, any job that you do will change your personality as well. So I think that's a really important change while you're in the university, because when you were in the school, it was completely different, but now you are all alone. You have to do everything by your side. And yeah, so I think part-time jobs is a really good idea. And of course, you get paid, so that's one thing. You can support yourself, your personal expenses through the part-time jobs. It was a really good decision and a great choice. Yeah.
Would you recommend becoming a student ambassador to any student coming in?
Yes, I would definitely advise students to apply for the student ambassador, because first of all, the best thing that I can think of is because it's a 0 hour contract. So every student has their own timetable, and not every time they can do a certain number of hours in the week. For example, in during the exams or during the coursework submissions or deadlines. So the 0 hour contract allows you to have your flexible timing. So whatever opportunity comes your way, you can choose to do that or not to do that. It's not compulsory for you to do that. So it's a great thing, I believe, because you have time to do your stuff, study, and all of that. And also, if you think you have time to do this job, then go for it. So that is one thing that I really appreciated. And also, working with a university involves a lot of working with people. So if you are a student ambassador, you work mainly on the open days, and that is a great opportunity for you to learn and acquire new skills like communication or social skills, basically, where you talk to people, where you help people, and that's all you do the whole day, basically. That's a great thing to acquire while you are here in the university, because once you go out of the university, once you graduate and you apply for jobs, you of course have to talk to people, you of course have to impress people. So yeah, being a student ambassador has its own advantages, and I feel you should definitely apply for it.
So you were a student ambassador, you were working part-time, you were studying, but you also mentioned YouTube earlier. What's your YouTube channel? What do you do on there?
So that's a very interesting story, because I was very much interested into vlogging and everything even before I came to the UK. And I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I was very keen on making one someday or the other. I did not plan on when and where, but as it goes that I decided to come to the UK, and that's when I decided that there are not a lot of YouTube videos about Swansea or Swansea University, and there is practically no help on the YouTube for international students, especially who are coming from the Southeast Asia. So I think that was one turning point on my decision that, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for me to help people as well as do something I really like. So I started vlogging, and my first vlog was the journey from India to UK. And it was my first vlog ever in my life, and I was a bit nervous because it was COVID and I had to vlog as well at the same time. And I was a bit camera shy as well while talking. And of course, if you're talking in public and you have your camera up and you're just speaking to the camera, it's not a very natural thing that comes to you. So yeah, but I did that, and that video did pretty good. I think it has more than 20,000 or 22,000 views. So I got some motivation out of it, and I was like, okay, if this is working, then I would probably do this properly. So during the summer, when I came here, I made a lot of videos about helping all the international students that came here. And that is how I got the content creation job here at the university as well.
Is there anything else you were doing? So you're doing YouTube, ambassador, you were working. Were you in any societies in your second year?
Yes. So as I told you before, my second year was my first year in the university as an experience. So I started to apply for different societies for the committee, and I got into the Indian Society Committee in my second year. And I was a committee member for the whole year, and we did some events for the Indian Society. And yeah, I was doing all that on the side as well. I was also applying for my year in industry job for my next year. So the whole second year, it took a lot of time and effort to apply for each and every role, and then give their online test and give interviews and all of that. So that also took a significant amount of time from me, and of course, not to mention effort, because it needs a lot of attention. It needs a lot of effort to sit down and do 1 hour or 1.5 hour of just online test. So yeah, all of these were happening during my second year.
Did you have any support from like friends or family or flatmates, or was there anyone who was able to like help you through all that?
So yes, definitely. I consider myself very lucky. The main strength that comes mentally and emotionally is from your family, even if they are not with you or living with you. So my parents were really helpful and also supportive in all the things that I did. And never really had the tension of convincing my parents to do this, or I have to think about money a lot as such, because I was doing part time, but I had some kind of a surety that if I did not make money at all, then I would not survive here, because my parents were always supportive of that. And I really appreciate that, because I can see that if you don't have the support from your own family, that can really affect your mental and emotional health. So that is one thing that I really appreciate. And secondly, I have good friends over here as well. I don't have such a very big social group, because of course I don't have the time to do all of that. I do have some friends that I can count on, where if I need some help, I can rely on them. And of course, small things matter, such as making food, or like waking up on time and all of that stuff. So of course, if you have good friends around, you can tell them, and then they can help you do certain things that is a bit difficult for you. So yeah, I consider myself lucky in all of these things. Of course, you do have your low points and your high points in everything, your social life or your emotional health or career wise as well. But you just have to get through it. That is one thing that you have to do. Just keep going on, because you never know what will happen the next day. And if you just lose hope because of one bad thing that happened to you, it is not justified. So yeah.
Yeah. Have you been able to stick with things like societies in your third year? Have you been able to stay in that community?
Yes. So as I told you, I was applying for my year industry. Fortunately, I got a job here in Swansea itself. So I did not have to move out of Swansea. So I was very much connected to Swansea and Swansea University during my placement year. So that is why I was very much connected to all the societies as well. So I became the vice president for the Indian Society during my placement year. And I also got into the Hindu Society committee. And we did a lot of things, a lot of events together. So yeah, that was one thing that I did. Even though I was working full time, I was giving time to the societies as well, and we were able to do some good events.
Amazing. Have you got one in particular that you really enjoyed or you're proud of?
Yes, so this was an event done by Hindu Society, and I am the creative director for the Hindu Society. And we basically did 3 events in one day. So that was a very big challenge and a task. So in total, there were 4 events, and one event was some other day, and 3 were on the same day. So that was the festival of Holi that we celebrate back in India. And the Hindu Society did something on a very large scale. And basically, me and 2 or 3 of the society members, the committee members, did all the work for that event that was needed. So I had some people working with me to do all of these events, but it took a lot of time and effort. And I my schedule was unimaginable at that time, because I was working full time. And after coming back from work, I was giving easily 4 to 5 hours or more, maybe sometimes, for this event. So the whole day was gone by very quickly, because we were involved in a lot of things. But yeah, I am really proud of it because we did all of these four events and we had a really good feedback as well out of it. And it was one of the biggest events that we did in that year. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
Would you recommend that when students come over here, they find societies and they do try and join them?
Yes, definitely. Because the thing is, once you come here, if you don't really join any societies here, then you don't have a lot to do because. Of course, you have to have a social life because you are in the university, you need friends. And I'm not saying you won't have any social life, but joining societies, going to the events, you meet new people, you have different experiences, and that basically create memories, that basically defines your personality as well in some sort. So definitely you should find all the societies and the clubs that you are interested in, be it sports, be it cultural like the Indian society or the Hindu society, or anything that you are interested in. You can find the society, be a member of that, and actively participate in all the events and social things that they do. And I think you will enjoy a lot during your time here.
I just want to ask about the year in industry. Is that finished? Have you done that? Are you still in the middle of doing that?
So yes, coming to year in industry, I am still doing it. So it will be over by September, and in September I'll be back doing my final year in the university. So I did one full year of my placement year job.
Did you always know you wanted to do a year in industry?
To be honest, I did not even know about such thing as a year in industry while I was getting admission here in Swansea. So once my first year started, and I talked to a couple of people in my course, so they told me that there is something called as a year industry where you can have an experience of one full year, and that is a part of your course. So I think that really helped me in making a decision because that was a part of my course and I did not have to graduate first and then look around for jobs as you do. So I thought that this is a really great opportunity for me to gain experience here in the UK and of course in my field, in my department. So yeah, once I started my second year during I think November, I started applying for my placement year job. Yeah, so it was very difficult to find a job because of course you don't have any experience in your field if you are an undergraduate and if you are an international student, because of course postgraduate students do have some experience back in India or wherever they come from. So being an undergraduate with no work experience whatsoever, it was really hard for me to find a job. I got into some of the big companies. I got into the final interview rounds for them, but something or the other did not work out, and I did not get the job. And I was pretty surprised that I got final stage with Intel or Capgemini or all of those big companies because as I told you, I had no work experience. But yeah, but at the end, it did not work out. And the thing with year in industry is all of my batchmates, all of my course mates, they basically gave up on applying during April, and they just gave up on doing that, saying that it's too late now, and they just probably went back home for the summer or they just stopped looking. But my thing was I had time till my third year when my third year starts, so I had time till September is what I was thinking. So I did not give up at all, and I kept applying, I kept giving interviews, and the first ever offline or in person interview that I ever had was in the company that I'm working on right now. So I was very lucky that I got selected and I got a job here in Swansea itself.
It's important to just keep trying.
Yes, that is one thing that I tell everyone who asks for advice on applying for jobs, that you don't need to stop at all at any given point of time. If you can apply, if you see an opportunity, just go for it.
do you think that the year in industry and working at techno camps, has that maybe changed what your career aspirations are now? Like, did you maybe want to do something different before you did that?
So yes, so my thinking of doing a placement year was so that I would know what I want to do after graduation. Because of course, when you are in the university, you don't actually know what's going on in the real world in the job that you're trying to get after graduation. So that was my first question that I had, that what do I want personally to do after graduation. And while working in techno camps, I got to know about a lot of things, because techno camps is not a very big company like Google or Amazon or something like that. It's a small company who does a lot of things. So working in a small company gives you the benefit of doing a lot of things for the company itself. Because if you are in a big company, there are different people assigned to a very specific things or responsibility. But here you are a part of a team who does basically everything that needs help for. So because of that, I experienced a lot of things. I talked to my colleagues. I got to know about their experiences and their point of view, their thinking as well. And I think now I am way more organized, or I have way more organized thoughts regarding my job that I want after graduation. Because if I have to say it right now, I did not have any idea about what a software developer is, or what a business analyst is when I was applying for jobs before. So now I at least know what I can expect. So yes, that this was a very crucial part of my degree, where I had an experience, but I also now have more idea about what I can do in the future.
It seems like every part of your university experience, every year has been very different. So what's next for you? What does your fourth year look like?
So I think from now, I can say that my fourth year is going to be much more difficult than my previous years. Because again, the jump from second year to third year in my course, at least, is a very big and a different change. Because now I get to pick my own modules. So I've already decided on what modules I want to pick. And the big thing that I have to do is do my own project, my own dissertation for my third year. So that is a very big thing that will change from all these years that I've been in Swansea. And I have to work on that for the whole year. And I have to do my best. I have to write a whole dissertation of, I think, 30 or 40 pages. So, yeah, all of that I have to do. So, academically, I am very much looking forward to doing these things, because the modules that I've picked are very interesting. At least right now, I think it is very interesting. And also, I'd like to do things that are not that easy, because it challenges me in every way possible. Especially if you do a course like computer science, it's not going to be interesting every single point of time. So you have to, go through with it even if it's not that interesting. So I can see it from now that it's going to be a bit difficult. But uh, as I told you, one of the advantages of doing a job, a full time job, is that now you can manage things much more smoothly than you would before the job. At least I feel that way. So now I am the president for the Indian Society as well for the next year. So I have that in my hand as well. I have to run a committee, I have to run a society itself. So I have different events planned on and all of that stuff. And of course, I would be doing part-time job as well. So I would be doing content creation and student ambassador, and maybe one or two other things as a part-time job in the university. And of course, there's YouTube that is going on for my end.
Yes, the YouTube. That must be really satisfying, knowing that your content is helping students. But do you think it's really important before students come here that they do that research and they find videos like yours to see how life is going to be like?
Oh, I think it's one of the things that you should definitely do before you come to the UK or wherever you go to study. You should definitely have some kind of research on what to expect while you go there, because once I came here and I just started my YouTube videos, I met a lot of Indian students who came here and did not have any videos to watch before coming here. And they were very clueless, because what every Indian might think, or everyone might think, is that if you come to the UK, it's all like London, how London is. But that is not at all the case in every part of the UK. And especially if you're in Wales, it's much more different, and you have a lot of things that are not at all like London basically. So you should definitely do research. All of the students at least watch one or two videos so that you can get some kind of idea on what you can expect after you come here, because a lot of people are disappointed because they think that it's like London, big city, metro going on and all of that stuff. And some people are happy as well that it's not like London. It's much more chill environment with the beach on your side and all of that. So yeah, if you really want to set your expectations right, I think you should do your research.
Looking back, if you could give any advice to your younger self a few years ago before you came here, is there any advice that what would you say to yourself?
I would just say that probably organize your life better, schedule your time better, and basically don't miss out on any opportunity, be it social or career wise. Because as I told you, I did a lot of things apart from my social life, and due to that my social life had effect as well. And I would say that maybe prioritize your social life as much as you prioritize anything else, and that will be only possible if you schedule your time properly and be more productive.
Brilliant. Thank you, Madhav. Thank you for sharing all that with us today. There's certainly quite a lot we've got through. And thank you for listening to the International Student Experience, a Swansea University podcast. I've been Dav. If you'd like to find out any more about what we do, please visit swansea.ac.uk/international.